Hey guys, Wes from Differential Motorsports. Got some new stuff I want to show you guys, and we're going to show you guys how we're going to install it all today as well. First thing, we got these front JL and JT lower control arm skids. These are UHMW. These will be a weld-on item. Next, we have some rear shock skids and lower control arm skids for the rear of the JL. These also come with UHMW. Lastly, we have this new front axle disconnect heavy duty skid here that we've also incorporated with UHMW. Another thing I want to add is that this front axle disconnect skid and the rear skids will be available in zinc coating or raw steel as well. These fronts will not be available in zinc coating simply because they're a weld-on item only. Okay. First thing, when you pull these out of the box, these will come with UHMW pre-installed, but before you weld these on, we need to take UHMW off, obviously because it's a plastic item, you don't want to weld on it and have it melted and everything else like that. So, we're going to take this off first, then we'll get these put on, get them welded on. Once it all cools off, then we can reinstall the UHMW. Okay, now that we got the UHMW off, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna place this up here. But before you guys start welding, you can see you wanna grind off your paint on the axle, so that way you get good weld penetration and everything's good. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of line this up about right there like that. And then we'll throw a couple tacks on it, and then we'll weld it in. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to taking off the factory front axle disconnect skid. You're gonna need a 10mm socket or wrench. Socket is probably better preferred. Doing good. Okay, when you're installing your front axle disconnect cover, the two lower bolts you'll want to replace with these button head Allen bolts. They're going to be a 5mm to install these. All right, so when you're bolting this up, you want to tighten the lower bolts first. Reason being is that these holes on the side, they're slotted. So that way you can ensure that this is up all the way, and then you tighten these bolts on the side last. So to do the rear shock skids, first thing we need to remove the lower control arm bolt. That's going to be a 21mm on both sides. For the shock, it's going to be a 18mm on both sides. So we'll get these removed. The other thing I want to point out is that if you are doing this on a lift, or if you're jacking the vehicle up, you need to keep the axle supported, because as soon as you undo this rear lower shock, it's going to want to allow the axle to droop out a little bit. So that's why we have our screw jack here in place. So when we undo the shock, it's not going to allow the axle to droop out. Okay, so with the lower shock skids here, as you can see, these are a well-used and abused lower control arm bracket. So these do have enough play in them to where even on one that's well bent, they will still go right on. So if you have some that are bent, no worry. These should still go on with minimal bending things back and stuff like that. But this one's well mangled, and as you can see again, it just goes right on there. All right, so lower shock skids are gonna come with a new 9/16 bolt. It's gonna be a 7/8 and a 13/16 for this one. This is gonna be a new shock bolt. It's gonna be a 1/2 inch, and it's gonna be a 3/4 on both sides. All right, so when you're installing the lower shock skid here, you wanna start with the shock bolt first, because as you can see, when we pulled out the lower control arm bolt, it shot up a little bit. So we wanna put the shock on first. Get your nut and washer on. Get that started.
If you feel like you have to hit it with a hammer, maybe just grab your wrench and let the threads bring it in. If you hit it with a hammer and it catches on the thread, it could roll or damage one of those threads, and then you're going to be most of the way installed and looking for a 9/16 bolt. And you probably don't want to buy it from the hardware store. They mark them up by like quadruple.
Okay, now that you have your bolts installed, we're just going to get everything tightened up and be good to go. All right, so when you get these lower shock skid control arm brackets put on, you want to make sure you want to get everything just kind of loosely in there. Set the vehicle on the ground if you have it jacked up, and you want to tighten everything at ride height. All right, so when you get done welding these on, you want to put some paint on there. Do a little Bob Ross action. Paint a little happy cradle here. Picasso. Okay, now you got these all painted. Just gotta put on the UHMW.
Right here. So of the 3 items that Wes installed today, 2 of them are completely bolt-on. I think that's among the first set of questions we hear when people are considering adding armor and trusses and upgrades to their axles. And yes, these lower control arm skids are a little bit of welding, but there's not a whole lot of disassembly involved with getting them onto the front. So if you don't have a welder at home, this might be a good excuse to do a little bit of learning and get a MIG welder out. And if not, you probably got a buddy with a garage with a welder hiding in the back. Or you know somebody like Wes, if you're really lucky, that can do it up on a lift. But by all means, you could do this in a driveway, and the other 2 parts are completely bolt-on. And the UHMW, obviously, on bolts, and you can replace it, you know, once it's on, it's ready to accept new pieces. No, I'm having about the same level of brain fart as Wes today. All right, Thomas, you're gonna film the closeout next, okay? That's a hard no.
Thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And hopefully we'll catch you for the next one. See you guys on the trail.
A German spec, it's called Good and Tight. Oh, yep, that hand slid right off my helmet. You wanna know why? Oh, God.
Why?
All right, hit me with something harder. Here at Next Venture Motorsports, we make helmets for your axle.
More reason to disconnect it. The EC.
Well, I mean, it's so annoying that I am so good today at pronouncing. Dude, I am on point pronouncing today.
It feels so huge compared to the Pixel 3.
Yeah, like I like the little header bar there for the camera. Can you just add like some cool wording that just like kind of like runs through the screen with some cool like monologue, like music and stuff, and then we don't even have to do a closeout.
All right, so I didn't film this video at all. I don't really know what Wes installed. I think it's lower control arm mounts. Lower control FAD and rear.
Where's your mic? So that right there is the axle helmet. We put it on.
Nope. Nope.
We put it on there.
Go away. I will donkey kick you. Maybe just crop that into the rest of it or something. Little crop. Crop it in. Just snip. A little moving around, a little music. Yeah, thanks everyone for putting up with this Friday fails.